Caroline, you're on.
You're watching Carolina.
That's right.
That's right.
Let's go.
Caroline and Miss Josie.
Yes, and Miss Tina Weymouth. Please state your name and your occupation, ma'am.
My name is Tina Weymouth, and I am a musician.
Thank you.
And a composer. And a producer. But I don't do everything.
But you do.
I do it with my darling husband,
That's
Chris,
right.
my partner.
Mm-hmm.
We've been friends for 42 years.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
42 years.
Yes.
Gosh. Wow.
I know, we're so lucky.
Yeah.
I'm so lucky.
So you.
I don't know if he's so lucky.
I think he feels the same way. So you're doing business together. You guys do everything together, don't you? It's so
Pretty
sweet.
much,
Yeah.
but you know, one of the things that allows us to do all these things together is a sense of independence.
Mm-hmm.
When we're at parties, we're each individuals. We do our own thing.
Mm-hmm.
We don't cling to each other.
Okay, that's good.
That really helps.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, we drive each other nuts.
Well, you're.
I've seen those clinging vine couples, and they fall apart fast.
Isn't it? That's
Yeah.
They're gross. It's like my happiness is your responsibility, and therefore I can't live without you.
Yeah,
It's
that's
icky.
pretty bad.
Yeah, do. Well, I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. What I've always wanted to ask you, because I think it's just fascinating, is your bass playing style.
Oh yes, you had the most remarkable, like shucking corn.
Yes,
Yes,
you
well-
do shuck your bass. You play your bass like you're shucking.
Well, that came about because of that one song, Wordy Rapping Hood, where I did that one part, and then of course I have to do it for the whole song. And I do. Well, I think it's called glissando or slide.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's a way to it smooths over a lot of error, I think.
Well, what is it like, so when because you do this backwards travel thing that's really, really cool. What is that? Is that what you just mentioned, the glissando? Like,
Yeah,
okay.
it's just I did it for that one song, and then I have to now for the rest, because it was a hit. Now I have to do it for the rest of my life.
Oh.
Wow. So that's how these things work. You have to be careful. Advice from Mama Gaga
That's
to
right.
Lady Gaga.
So listen.
Be
nota
careful
bene.
what you write. If it's a hit, you'll be doing it forever.
That's right, kids. So, and then now your playing hand. I told you earlier, it sounds like I have to hide my fingernails because my polish is chipped, so I can't use my
Oh,
hands.
no one will notice. And my nails are the nails of a guitarist. So
Please sign here.
yes.
Your plucking style is so cool. It's as if you barely touch the strings.
Well,
It's lighter than air.
That I learned from Robbie Shakespeare, the duo Sly and Robbie,
Yeah.
the great Jamaican duo. And I learned that we were making our first Tom Tom Club record, and we were in one studio at Compass Point Studios in Bahamas, and Grace Jones was in the other one with the great rhythm section Sly and Robbie, and also Wally Badarou and Barry White Reynolds on guitar, and Wally playing keyboards, and they had Sticky Thompson playing percussion, and so I was learning by going in there and watching them, and also because the young engineer we were working with, young Stephen Stanley, he was 23 at the time, he had learned how to EQ bass guitar in a particular range, so that the idea, we wanted a lot of air and space and not to clutter everything up. We wanted the opposite of the wall of sound, so So the idea is to create a band of a sound that goes from one end of the spectrum to the other, not have it all mashed up in the center, in the mid-range. So we had the kick drum would actually be EQ'd lower than the bass guitar,
okay.
so that, or is it the reverse? I don't know. But anyway, around 150 kilohertz if you're interested. But so in any case, it was one way to keep things from turning into mush. And I was learning to play bass lightly at that point. I realized from the Jamaican reggae artists that if you touch your bass guitar very lightly, because I was really, I was a punk, and I was really,
thrashing,
whacking at it, and till my fingers were just bloody.
Oh my God.
And the old timers were saying, "You're crazy. You're going to injure yourself that way." And I said, "I am injured. You can see. I'm." And they said, "What?" They said, "Well, the old jazz greats. They used to, playing upright bass. They would keep." This sounds disgusting, but it was very effective. They would keep a wad of Vaseline behind the ear so they could just, go up and, because the strings they're like piano wire.
Yeah,
they're rough. They're round strings. They're wrapped around a wire, and they're extremely rough. And with all the glissando I was doing too. I mean, I was just ripping my fingers up.
Oh my God.
On both ends.
Calluses, let's see.
I don't have to have calluses anymore. I mean, I do when I'm playing every day, but they come back very rapidly. But I don't have to do what I used to do, which is
battery. Hold on. Yeah. Sometimes we run out. It's still going.
Anyway, that's very, very boring bass talk.
No, not at all.
Yeah, bass talk is the worst. Yeah, it's almost as bad as drum talk.
No, but your technique's so interesting. That's why I just.
Well, I learned to play folk guitar first. My dad got, for all of us girls, a folk guitar in Germany, and he came home with this little Hohner, and we all kind of fought over it until I won. I just was the one who just kept at it the longest, probably because I had the most complicated adolescence. And I was a moper. I stayed in my room, whereas my sisters were all beautiful and had boyfriends. My boyfriend was my guitar, and so in any case, I learned to play just out of books because I was living in Iceland and there were no teachers for me, and so I learned to play with all my fingers, and eventually I learned to use a pick or a plectrum, as they say in England. And I learned to do, two fingers, and I also always played with my thumb. And I remember in CBGBs I was always using my thumb because, of course, in your folk guitar you always use all your fingers. And I remember kids would say, "You use the James Jamerson style," and I'd say, "I do? Who is he?" I didn't know, and now you can know who these people are. He was the genius on the Motown records, and you can learn a lot about him by watching that wonderful DVD, Standing in the Shadows.
Oh, okay.
Great DVD, musicianship, stories about all those great records that we didn't know. We didn't know who those guys were. Their names never appeared anywhere.
Do you ever give master classes, or have you ever thought about?
No, I'm not qualified. You know who is Carol Kay. Carol Kay grew up in a family of musicians, and she played guitar on La Bamba.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Whoa,
she was a guitarist first, and then when Leo Fender invented, the electric bass guitar, she picked that up too, and she played the bass on the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds. And
oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah. She's a great session player. Los Angeles, Hollywood, and she has, she just has guys who just carry her amps from one session to the next because she's just that good. But she's somebody who learned young,
Yeah.
and she's qualified to teach, and she's a great teacher. And you can even go online. She has so many tips for anybody who wants to play guitar or bass guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So Chris is the sociable one,
Mm-hmm.
and I love people, but I have to have alone time because I'm weird that way. And but it's perfect being married to him because he kind of does all he does all
He
my.
does all the.
It would be terrible if I had a Facebook page and he. I mean, it would be competition, and it's much better that. Well, it was one of our friends said, "Oh, Tina, you get to be his muse," and I don't even think I'm not photogenic, and so I just try to be like the the object in the that shows the scale of the building or how tall are the trees, So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
You show us the relativity.
But Poppy is even before
She's
Poppy.
a big part of it too.
She loves being his muse.
Yeah.
As we know, these female dogs, they think that I'm just the feeder, and the bather.
Yeah, the clicker, all the horrible things.
But she's his mate.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I have to beg to enter the bed. May I get in my spot on the bed, please?
I know. Well, yeah, it's on one hand, I know a lot of people mention it would be so fun if Tina was on Facebook, but I see what you mean. It's like,
Wouldn't that be weird?
Yes, it would be weird, yeah. Because you...
Yeah, and also, I'm very inconsistent. I mean, he's a great radio DJ. He selects great music, and I got him back into that because when we had records to play every day, I would build the stereo and he would play the records, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how we divided up.
Yeah.
And so he would put a record on. He'd select the records, put them on, and keep flipping them. And I missed it so much. And I said, Chris, years and years now, the CD just doesn't do it for me. It's like, I don't want to hear 72 minutes of the same people, especially people who play every song in the same style, in the same key, with the same voice. Mm-hmm. And so I said, and the radio had gone that way too. Radio had gone to, you only hear one kind of music. It's like eating only one kind of food.
Right.
It's so horrible. Mm-hmm. So not like old time radio where you'd hear everything. So when this guy from WPKN approached me in Norwalk, Connecticut, he said, would you consider doing a radio show? And I said, I wouldn't be the one to ask. You should ask Chris because he's a real musicologist and he's perfect.
Yeah.
And
that voice, he's got the
he's got a great voice,
oh, yeah.
And he's very positive.
Yeah.
He makes you feel good, and also I think that he's unusual because he's not sexist one way or the other. He's not ageist one way or the other. Mm-hmm. He's so balanced, and so I encouraged it. I said, this is what I miss in my life. So, once a month on every Friday, the last Friday of the month, I can tune in the radio, and for 2 hours at least, I get to just listen to different stuff.
That's so neat.
And it's great, yeah.
Yes,
and I feel like it's for me. But he's doing it for all of us. So those who can't receive it, because it is a very small volunteer radio station, those who can't receive it can go online and get WPKN.org.
That's right.
Right.
I'll put a little undertitle thing.
Yeah.
So people can see it.
So that's a really good radio show. And
It's
Chris gives you on his Facebook page, every morning he wakes you up with a song, and every evening he puts you to bed with a song. So you kind of get a little vibe of